Retiring at 26 sounds impossible to most people. We're taught that retirement only comes after decades of working, saving slowly, and waiting until old age to finally enjoy financial freedom. But a growing number of young people are reaching financial independence much earlier by following strategies that focus on investing, ownership, aggressive saving, scalable income, and lifestyle design instead of the traditional work for 40 years path. Today we will talk about how a 26-year-old retired using a strategy your parents never taught you so. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, also subscribe to my channel. 10. Most people were taught to work for money forever. For generations, the traditional life plan looked almost identical for most people. Go to school, get a stable job, work for 40 years, save carefully, and eventually retire in old age. This system was treated as normal because, for a long time, it was considered the safest path to financial security. Parents taught their children to prioritize stability, avoid risk, and remain loyal to long-term employment. But younger generations entered a completely different economic reality. Housing became more expensive, inflation reduced purchasing power, job security weakened, and retirement started feeling farther away than ever. 9. The goal was never just making more money. One of the biggest mindset shifts among people pursuing early retirement is realizing that wealth is not only about income. Many high earners still live paycheck to paycheck because expenses rise alongside income continuously. The real goal becomes increasing the gap between what you earn and what you spend. A 26-year-old retiring early usually does not succeed because they suddenly became ultra-rich overnight. They succeed because they learned how to control expenses, increase savings rates aggressively, and redirect money toward assets instead of lifestyle inflation. 8. Your savings rate matters more than most people realize. Most traditional financial advice focuses heavily on budgeting small expenses, but early retirement strategies focus much more aggressively on savings rate. Someone saving 10% of income may work for decades longer than someone saving 50% or more. Why? Because every dollar invested not only builds future wealth, it also reduces future financial dependence. The higher the savings rate, the faster someone can build an investment portfolio capable of covering living expenses independently. 7. Investing became the real engine behind early retirement. The strategy many parents never fully understood was using investing aggressively and consistently as the primary path to freedom. Instead of relying only on pensions or late-life retirement accounts, younger investors began building portfolios designed to generate long-term compounding growth much earlier in life. Index funds, ETFs, dividend investments, and broad market exposure became powerful tools because they allowed ordinary people to participate in long-term economic growth directly. Over time, investments started producing returns large enough to eventually replace active labor income. 6. Lifestyle inflation is the trap most people never escape. One reason many people remain financially dependent despite rising incomes is lifestyle inflation. As earnings increase, spending increases alongside them. Bigger apartments, newer cars, expensive vacations, luxury habits, subscriptions, and constant upgrades quietly absorb additional income. Early retirees often think differently. Instead of spending every raise, they redirect extra income into investments and cash-flowing assets. This creates a widening gap between income and expenses that accelerates wealth building dramatically over time. 5. Time became more valuable than status. One of the deepest mindset differences in the early retirement movement is how people value time itself. Traditional culture often encourages people to trade decades of time for financial security later in life. But many younger investors began realizing that freedom, flexibility, and control over daily life may actually matter more than constantly upgrading visible lifestyle status. Driving modest cars, living below their means, or avoiding luxury spending allowed them to buy something far more valuable: time independence. 4. Multiple income streams changed the game. Another major factor behind early retirement strategies is diversification of income. Many financially independent young people do not rely entirely on one salary alone. Investments, side businesses, online income, dividends, rental properties, digital products, and scalable systems create multiple financial streams operating simultaneously. This reduces dependence on traditional employment while increasing financial flexibility. Over time, passive and semi-passive income can gradually replace the need for full-time work entirely. 3. Financial freedom is often more psychological than mathematical. One surprising truth about early retirement is that the numbers alone are only part of the equation. Many people continue working endlessly because they fear uncertainty or define identity completely through work. Early retirees often develop a different relationship with money and lifestyle expectations. They focus less on impressing others and more on building enough financial stability to control their own schedule. In many cases, freedom becomes less about luxury and more about reducing financial obligations aggressively enough to create choice. 2. Compounding rewards early action aggressively. Starting young creates a massive advantage because compounding has more time to work. Someone investing heavily in their early 20s gains decades of reinvested growth that later investors struggle to replicate. This is why aggressive saving and investing early in life can dramatically shorten the timeline toward financial independence. The earlier money begins compounding, the less pressure exists later to rely entirely on continuous labor income. 1. The real strategy your parents never taught you. Build assets that buy back your time. The deeper truth about retiring early is not necessarily that people stopped working completely. It is that they stopped depending entirely on trading time for survival. Because the truth is simple. Traditional financial systems trained most people to earn wages, spend steadily, and work for decades, while early retirement strategies focus on maximizing savings rates, investing aggressively, controlling lifestyle inflation, and building assets capable of generating independent income over time. And once you understand that financial freedom comes less from earning huge salaries and more from creating systems where investments and assets begin covering your living expenses automatically, you begin seeing how some people manage to retire at ages previous generations were only beginning their careers. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.